This is where we're going to start to get really serious about SQL injection. We're going to discover the schema of our internal database application and start extracting data. So this is the real pointy end of SQL injection, the thing that attackers come to applications to exploit. Now there are a number of different ways that we can achieve both these objectives, so let's move on and take a look at the overview and then jump into actually getting data out of the system. There are a couple of real key activities that we're going to cover in this module. And one of them is around actually discovering how the database is put together. So what is that internal structure? What are the tables? What are the columns? What do we need to be looking at as ethical hackers when we want to pull data out of the system? Because that's the real key. We want to actually get the data out. Now, of course, sometimes SQL injection involves inserting data, updating data, running system commands. But evidently, one of the most malicious things that happens in a SQL injection attack is data being taken from the system. And that's what we're going to start to do in this module. And these two things are a little bit chicken and egg. You need to understand the schema in order to know what data you want to pull out of the system, but the process of discovering the schema often involves pulling data out of the system. If that sounds a little bit confusing now, it will all make sense as we progress through this module. Now, the attack that we're going to really start focusing on is the union-based attack, because we want to use this in order to pull the data out of the database via the web application. So we touched on union-based injection in the last module, and this is where, as an attacker, we're appending our own result set with data that's not meant to see the light of day, and we're tacking it onto the legitimate result set. Great way of getting data out, and you'll see just how easy that can be in just a moment. But before we start actually mounting any sort of attacks, it's really important to actually understand how this union operator works. So let's jump back over to SQL Server Management Studio and start by joining up a couple of results using union.